Well, here we are, another day and another heart-to-heart talk. I'm John Kuert, the interim pastor at First Assembly in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Glad that you stopped by today, and I hope that what I have to share with you will be an encouragement. We really do need encouragement from one another. We don't do enough of that, and a lot of times we are left just kind of fending for ourselves and having to plow through it and pray through it. But I believe that encouragement is such a powerful ministry, actually, um, and I hope that I can be an encouragement to you today, and I hope that we will all determine to be more of an encouragement to others, to share with others, and to pray with others, and to just say a word that will help them, lift them, and be a blessing to them. Well, this comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 1. And the Apostle Paul is speaking, who went through many, many difficulties. And yet he found the secret of just depending on the Lord. And he got through them, amazingly enough. And some of the most severe persecutions and physical trials, spiritual trials, but he made it through. And this is a great passage that I like to think of it as the secret of spiritual stamina that I think that all of us need to hear from time to time. So anyway, Paul writes this from 2 Corinthians chapter 1. I think maybe I said 1 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 8 through 11. He said, "We do not want you to be uninformed, brothers and sisters, about the hardships we suffered in the province of Asia. We were under great pressure, far beyond our ability to endure, so that we despaired even of life." Paul said what he was going through was far above his ability to endure. And I think that many times we feel that this is beyond us. Those are the times that we need to really turn to God and pray and seek Him and fast and pray, whether it's a physical healing that we need for ourselves or for someone that we know, or whether it is some other need, some other great need, and we might feel that it's just overwhelming. And we need to realize that God will bring us through. He always is faithful. He always is faithful. And it's nice to know that a man of God like the Apostle Paul, such great spiritual stature, went through some difficult times where he felt like it was far beyond his ability to endure. Sometimes that's an encouragement, just to know that others go through it. Sometimes we think we're the only ones going through these difficulties. There are other people, and that's a kind of an encouragement as well. Well, he goes on and he says this: "Indeed, in our hearts we felt the sentence of death. But this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God, who can even raise the dead." And there's the key of this passage, that we might rely on God. And all too often, I think we don't do enough of that when we're faced with some great spiritual battle or some great obstacle that's in our way. We try to move it ourselves. We try to plow through it, get through it ourselves. But Paul realized the importance of relying on God. He said, we felt the sentence of death, and then really they were facing death in many situations. Over and over again, Paul faced that. But he says, and it happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God, who can even raise the dead. And may the Lord help us to rely more on Him than to rely on our own human resources or the resources that we might have in our at our disposal. He goes on and he says, He has delivered us from such a deadly peril, and He will deliver us. On Him we have set our hope, and He will continue to deliver us. So Paul looks at the past and he says He has delivered us in the past. And that's a good thing to do when we're going through some situation, is to look back and remember that God has brought you through. Israel's problem was that they had a very short memory. And when God had done so many great miracles for them, when He delivered them out of the bondage of Egypt, and then they just complained again and again and again. And God would deliver them, and then they would be all happy, and, and then He would, bring them through, and they would again be complaining when the next problem came up. And so I think it's a good thing to look back. But He also said, on Him we have set our hope, and He will continue to deliver us. God is faithful. He will continue to bring us through again and again and again. We don't understand all of the things that we have to endure in our lives. But, God has promised that if we will rely on Him, He will bring us through again and again and again, because He is the faithful one. And then the apostle, he says, as he comes to the end of this little passage, on Him we have set our hope, that He will continue to deliver us. And as you help us by your prayers, then many will give thanks on our behalf for the gracious favor granted us in answer to the prayers of many. Paul knew the secret of answers to his problems was that others were praying for him and others were believing with him that God would bring them through. And he depended upon those other believers. We cannot do it ourselves, folks. And God doesn't expect us to be the Lone Ranger. He wants us to realize and understand that we really need one another. There is this great fellowship that we have with one another. And so Paul, he depended on the prayers of so many, and he said, God has granted us gracious favor in answer to the prayers of many. And so he gave God the glory, but he also said that it was because of the prayers of many, as many were praying. And so we need to have the fellowship of prayer surrounding us. We need to have other believers praying for us and just touching the throne of God on our behalf. Because when we're going through difficult times, sometimes it's difficult to reach out in faith to God. And we just feel down. We feel discouraged. And that's when we need others to lift us up. And that goes for you. You need to look for those that may be looking for help as well. Not just say, well, I need it for myself, which we all do at times, but to be looking how we can pray for others. And we develop this great sense of camaraderie and fellowship in the faith. So that's it. That's the secret to spiritual stamina. To just recognize that when we're far beyond our ability to endure, God can bring us through. And it will be as we continue to rely upon Him and rely upon others in the faith that will lift us in prayer and encourage us. So that's a word of encouragement for you today. And I hope that it touches you and that it brings spiritual stamina to you. And I want you to know, and I've said this before, that I am praying for each and every one of you. I don't know all of you by name. I know some who have watched this program and have shared with me that they have been blessed by it. But I just want you to know that I am praying for you. Whoever you are, I just pray, God, touch those that are listening to this, and may it be a blessing to them, and touch their lives and lift them and encourage them. And I believe that God can do that. So anyway, have a great day now, and may the Lord bless you and be with you. Have a wonderful week, the remaining of this week, and Lord willing, we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.